we reviewed the all-new C7 Corvette, and I absolutely fell in love with the car. It was refined in all the right places, absolutely stunning, but still had that raw American muscle car vibe to it. That car we reviewed had only 460 horsepower, and I'm pretty excited that hopefully someday soon we can review the new Corvette Z06. But today is all about the old king of the road, the ZR1. The ZR1 is one of the most badass cars you can possibly buy. I mean, it is a complete animal. Listen to these numbers. Under the clear glass engine bonnet, you have a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, dubbed the LS9, and this produces an earth-shattering 638 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque. That is the second highest horsepower figure of any car we reviewed, just shy of the Aventador 700, and it is actually the highest torque figure of any car. The ZR1 is all about being lightweight. It's 3,350 pounds, which is not very much, especially with that massive engine in the front. Couple this with 335 section rear tires. This is a rear wheel drive car, so it does need all the rubber it can get in the back. 0 to 60 miles an hour happens in 3.3 seconds. That's insane. And because it's rear wheel drive, it does fight for traction a lot. This car can spin the tires up to like 60 miles an hour, which is a bit intimidating. One of the other two really high horsepower rear-wheel drive cars we reviewed was, of course, the Ford GT and the Novitec Rosso Ferrari 360, and both of those seemed like if you had the steering wheel pointed straight, you could floor it after about 30 miles an hour and the tires would hook. But this car in first gear is an absolute madman, and even in the upper RPM ranges of second gear, it's a beast. It's really hard to imagine a car being too much faster than this with the layout that it has: rear-wheel drive, front engine, manual transmission. This car is a very refreshing break. Most supercars and cars with over 600 horsepower are littered with fancy automatic transmissions. And this car, the ZR1 and the Viper, are kind of standalone in that regard, with huge engines and a manual transmission, and it is an absolute blast. This transmission, very short throws, the linkage is very smooth, downshifts are easy. Once you get in this car, there's really no learning curve at all. I instantly felt comfortable with the transmission, very hard to stall. You've got excellent visibility in the front, and for most supercars, this has insane visibility in the back, so that's very nice. It is very tame if you are driving it slow. It's got two driving modes. You've got Tour and Sport mode. This is a ZR1, so we're gonna leave it in Sport mode. But it is comfortable to drive at slow speeds. This car is a 2009, but even 6 years later, the ZR1 is still in the top 10 fastest production cars around the Nürburgring. That is incredible, especially because this exact car can be had for a tad under $80,000. And it's in the company of an LFA Nürburgring edition, GTR Nismo, McLaren P1, Porsche 918. That is some insane competition, and for this to be the last generation car and still hang with that crowd is absolutely incredible. It makes this one of the best performance deals you can get for the money. Handling wise, the ZR1 is fantastic. It does not have a fancy all-wheel drive system, so it can be a handful in the turns if you don't know what you're doing. But obviously, it is capable of some intense grip and some incredible lap time in the hands of a pro driver. The steering weight is fantastic and provides a lot of feedback. The car does feel very nimble and docile. And for something that has so much power, it doesn't actually feel that intimidating, which is a pretty large feat. Suspension It's not quite as firm as I was expecting. This car is actually comfortable to drive on the road. It is not an all-out race car that vibrates your spine the entire time. I'll be honest, I'm not a massive fan of the way the base C6 Corvette looks. I think it's a little bit bland, and now that we have the new stunning C7, it looks like an absolute joke in comparison, but the Z06 and ZR1 are different. They've got the unique side, you've got this dual louver fender vents, you've got an awesome exhaust system in the back, front and rear aggressive fascia, some carbon around that transform this car from something that's a little bit bland to one of the most badass cars on the road. It has this presence about it that not a lot of cars have, and when it drives by, you know that this is something special. On the interior, Corvettes have never been praised for the inside until the most recent C7 generation, but the good news is about this car is someone spent, the previous owner, a lot of money giving this car an absolutely incredible bespoke interior. Got diamond stitching with red contrasted stitches that match the exterior beautifully. Got carbon fiber bits throughout, and it really comes together very, very well. What's incredible about this car is it doesn't really matter what gear you're in or what RPM you're at. 600 plus horsepower means when you put the foot to the floor, you're going places fast. I mean, even in fifth gear, up a hill, on the freeway, it's pretty impressive, this car's passing ability, no matter what gear you're in. But with those extremely wide rear tires, the grip is pretty astounding. Oh yeah. Part of what surprised me about this car is that it does feel like it could be driven on a daily basis, and I'm serious. Look at the trunk. That is a lot of space. I mean, that has got to be one of the biggest trunks of any high-performance cars of all time. And because the suspension is not too firm, it is not annoying in any way. It really is comfortable to drive. And then when you put it in sport mode and you mash the throttle and send it around some turns, it's just unbelievable how capable this performance machine is. I really, really enjoyed driving the ZR1. It's one of the fastest cars I've ever driven. I'm very impressed with the handling characteristics and just how well composed the car is for something that's so ridiculously capable around the track, and then has the number 7 fastest production car lap time around the Nürburgring for a 2009 vehicle. It's absolutely amazing. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. If you could like us on Facebook.com, give us a like on Instagram, a follow on Instagram, that would be great. Special thanks to California Motors in San Rafael, California for making this video possible. This car is available there now. It has 6,800 miles on it. It's almost brand new for just under $80,000. It's a heck of a deal. You gotta test drive this car. It is just an absolute riot to drive. Look forward to seeing you next video.